Mr Berry's death was, in my view, the result of an escalating pattern of domestic violence perpetrated by you. You had the 3 prior convictions for assaulting Mr Berry. He had obtained a final protection against you following the last conviction in early 2020. The police had attended his address on multiple occasions following family harm incidents. Mr Berry had complained to his family, to his friends and to his probation officer that he was scared for his own safety, that he was embarrassed at his predicament. Although it's not clear because of decomposition, there were no clear defensive wounds on his body at post-mortem, suggesting he was defenceless. I have no doubt that Mr Berry was vulnerable. Secondly, the level of cruelty. And I hope, Ms Joyce, that you can understand why the prosecution submit that your actions in failing to call for medical assistance, dragging Mr Berry's body out into the garden to the area of the compost, covering him in vegetation, leaving him there, engaging in a clean-up and then disposing of his property and lying as to his whereabouts, demonstrates a high level of cruelty. I accept you didn't have a coherent plan to conceal the murder. I accept that it's likely that you panicked. I'm not persuaded that the clean-up was a really serious attempt to conceal the murder. I acknowledge that when you came to appreciate the gravity of what you had done, you fell off the wagon and began drinking heavily. The CCTV footage and supermarket invoices confirm that you were drinking throughout the days that followed. And so I do accept that your relapse would have had some influence over the decisions you were making during the following 2-week period. Mr Peterson has written submissions questions whether the evidence establishes that you were responsible for the disposal of Mr Berry's personal property. I'm satisfied you were. You admitted in evidence that you have kept personal items and clothing. You said you gave away all the other property. Unidentified items were thrown over the fence at the address or otherwise dumped in rubbish bins. But generally, looking at the issue of cruelty, Mrs Joyce, your actions in dragging Mr Berry's naked body into the garden, leaving him there, lying about his whereabouts and disposing of his property was disturbing, and it caused so much harm to Mr Berry's family, as you've heard this morning. Rena Joyce, on the charge of murdering Martin Berry, I sentence you to life imprisonment with a minimum period of imprisonment of 13 years and 9 months. I remind you of the strike warning that I gave you following the jury's verdict. You can stand down.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. To stay up to date with all the latest news from the New Zealand Herald, click the subscribe button below or check out one of the videos here, and head over to nzherald.co.nz for more details on these stories and more.